The manager thought she ruled the place, mocking and dismissing a customer who didn't fit her picture-perfect image. She believed she was untouchable. But when that same customer walked back through the door, her entire world came crashing down. What happened next would end her career for good. Let's start from the beginning. Let me paint the scene for you. It's a crisp Thursday evening in downtown San Francisco, where one of the city's trendiest restaurants was buzzing with well-dressed patrons. The kind of place where avocado toast costs more than a full meal at a diner. Sitting in his car across the street was Ryan Montgomery, a 34-year-old black man with a sharp sense of humor and an even sharper business mind. He wasn't just another guest walking in for dinner. He was the owner of this place, and not just this one, but an entire chain of high-end restaurants across the country. Ryan liked to run what he called undercover boss missions. No cameras, no entourage, just him blending in with the crowd to see how his staff treated regular customers. But tonight, he decided to spice things up a bit. He pulled a red cap from the passenger seat, a classic "Make America Great Again" hat. It was more of a social experiment than a political statement, and Ryan loved a good experiment. "Let's see how this goes," he muttered to himself as he adjusted the cap and stepped out of his car. The restaurant was packed. The ambient lighting was perfect. The smell of seared steak and fresh herbs filled the air, and soft jazz played in the background. Ryan walked in and was immediately greeted by Jennifer Scott, the manager on duty. She was a striking woman in her late 20s, with fiery red hair pulled into a tight ponytail and an air of authority that screamed, "I run this place!" But tonight, she was not in her element. Days of juggling staff issues and picky customers had taken their toll. The moment Jennifer saw the hat, her eyes narrowed, and she muttered just loud enough for her assistant to hear, "Oh, great! Another MAGA guy. Just what we needed." Ryan ignored the jab. He had been through worse and wasn't here to pick a fight. At least, not yet. He smiled politely and asked for a table. Jennifer scanned the room, her lips curling into a barely hidden smirk. "The only thing we have is by the kitchen door," she said, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. "I hope that works for you?" Ryan nodded, keeping his cool. "That's fine." As he sat down, the spot she had chosen lived up to its reputation. Servers rushed past with plates, the door slammed every few seconds, and the noise was enough to ruin anyone's appetite. Still, Ryan wasn't here for comfort. He was here for answers. A few minutes later, a young waiter named Zach approached, visibly nervous. His hands trembled slightly as he took Ryan's order, glancing over his shoulder at Jennifer, who was glaring at him from across the room. Zach hurried off, and before Ryan could even check his phone, Jennifer herself strutted over. "So," she began, folding her arms, "you're not planning to stick around long, are you? Our usual guests are a bit more refined." Ryan met her gaze, calm but firm. "I wasn't aware there was a dress code for basic respect." Jennifer's smile tightened into a grimace. She leaned in, lowering her voice just enough to sound menacing. "Let me make this easy for you. We're busy, and you're not exactly blending in. Maybe you'd prefer your food to go." Ryan didn't flinch. "Last I checked, this restaurant is open to everyone." Jennifer straightened, clearly annoyed that her intimidation tactics weren't working. She turned on her heel and barked at Zach to speed things up before this guy scares off the real customers. The tension in the room was palpable. Nearby diners exchanged awkward glances, clearly uncomfortable, but unwilling to intervene. When Jennifer finally brought Ryan's food, she practically slammed the plate onto the table. "Enjoy," she said with a forced smile that could cut glass. "But seriously, think about taking it to go." Ryan stood up slowly, smoothing out his shirt. He locked eyes with Jennifer, his voice steady and deliberate. "Don't worry. We'll be talking about this soon." He walked out, leaving a stunned silence in his wake. Jennifer watched him leave, her confidence intact, for now. But Ryan, he was already planning his next move. This wasn't over, not by a long shot. Jennifer stood near the hostess podium, watching Ryan walk out with an air of triumph, like she'd just cleared a stubborn stain off her perfectly polished floor. To her, it was just another minor annoyance dealt with, and she was ready to move on. But life had other plans, and they hit fast. Not even 5 minutes later, an older gentleman, probably in his 60s, dressed sharply in a blazer and loafers, leaned toward his dinner companion and spoke just loud enough to make sure Jennifer caught every word. "First time I've seen a manager treat a customer like that. Makes you wonder if we should start looking for a new spot to dine." Jennifer's jaw clenched. She gritted her teeth so hard it felt like they might chip, but instead of addressing it, she chose to redirect her frustration. Unfortunately for Zach, the young waiter who'd already been on the receiving end of her wrath tonight, he became the next target. "Zach!" she barked, waving him over like a schoolteacher scolding a late student. "You're moving way too slow. These plates aren't going to serve themselves, and I can't have you slacking off while we're busy." Zach, a skinny guy in his early 20s with dark circles under his eyes, nodded meekly. He mumbled an apology and rushed off, his face flushed with embarrassment. Jennifer crossed her arms, feeling a fleeting moment of satisfaction, but the cracks in her facade were starting to show. Meanwhile, Ryan hadn't gone far. Sitting in his car in the parking lot, he opened his laptop and logged into the security feed for the restaurant. As the owner, he had full access to every camera, and tonight he had plenty to review. He scrolled through clips of Jennifer's performance, her snarky comments, dismissive gestures, and the way she hovered over Zach, micromanaging him to the point of breaking. It was all there, clear as day. Ryan shook his head and muttered under his breath, "You're digging your own grave, Jennifer." After a quick series of emails to his lawyer and PR team, Ryan decided to give his audience a teaser. He opened Twitter and typed, "Sometimes you have to see how people act when they think no one's watching. Lessons coming soon." Within seconds, the tweet started gaining traction, but Ryan wasn't done yet. He leaned back in his seat and waited, knowing the situation was far from over. Back inside, the restaurant was descending into chaos. A middle-aged couple complained about their over-salted steak. Another table grumbled about their dessert taking too long. Jennifer, already stretched thin, snapped. She marched to the center of the dining room and shouted, her voice cutting through the jazz playlist like a siren. "If anyone has a problem with their meal, the door is right there. Feel free to use it." The entire room went silent. Forks clinked against plates, and the murmur of conversation died as shocked patrons exchanged uneasy glances. A few started whispering, but Jennifer didn't seem to care. Zach cautiously approached her, his voice barely audible. Some guests are asking if they can speak to the manager about their orders." Jennifer spun around to face him, her patience officially gone. "I am the manager, Zach, and I decide who stays and who goes. Got it?" Her outburst didn't go unnoticed. A young man at a nearby table discreetly pulled out his phone and began recording. The video captured everything: Jennifer's tirade, Zach's defeated expression, and the hushed reactions of the other guests. By the time dessert hit the table, the clip had already found its way online, and hashtags like #badmanager and #customerservicefail were starting to trend. Outside, Ryan watched as his phone buzzed relentlessly with notifications. The video was spreading faster than wildfire, and public opinion was already taking shape. People weren't just angry, they were outraged. It was time to take things to the next level. Ryan stepped out of his car and walked back into the restaurant. The second he entered, Jennifer spotted him and immediately rolled her eyes, her expression a mix of exasperation and disbelief. "Oh, you're back," she said with a mocking tone. "Didn't I already tell you this isn't the place for you?" This time, Ryan didn't bother with pleasantries. He took a step forward, his voice calm but loud enough for the entire room to hear. "I'm Ryan Montgomery," he announced, pausing for effect. "The owner of this restaurant and the entire chain, and I'm here to see how you've been destroying my business." The room froze. Every head turned toward Ryan, and the sound of chairs creaking as people leaned in to watch filled the air. Jennifer's face drained of color as her smirk vanished, replaced by wide-eyed panic. Guests started pulling out their phones, capturing every second. Jennifer stammered, trying to form words, but nothing came out. The weight of her actions had finally caught up to her, and Ryan wasn't about to let her off easy. The stage was set, and the audience was all ears. When Ryan's words echoed through the restaurant, it was like someone had hit the pause button. The hum of conversation, the clinking of glasses, even the faint jazz playing in the background. All of it stopped. Every single eye in the room was glued to him. As for Jennifer, she stood frozen, her face shifting from ghostly pale to a deep crimson in a matter of seconds. She opened her mouth, probably to throw out some half-baked excuse, but no sound came out. It was like her voice had packed up and left the building. You're the owner?" she finally stammered, her voice barely above a whisper. Ryan's expression didn't change. His tone was icy, calculated. "Yes, I'm the owner. And this restaurant, every single one of my restaurants, runs on one principle: respect. Respect for the people who dine here and respect for the people who work here. Tonight, you've shown neither." The room erupted into applause. A man near the back, clearly enjoying the spectacle, shouted, "Finally, someone's calling her out!" Ryan raised a hand, signaling for calm. "I want to personally apologize to everyone here for the terrible experience you've had tonight. This is not who we are, and I promise we will fix this." He turned to Jennifer, who looked like she wanted to disappear into the floor. "Jennifer, let's take this to the office. We need to have a conversation about your future." Jump duck. The walk to the office was tense, with Jennifer trailing behind Ryan like a kid caught sneaking out after curfew. Inside, Ryan sat at the desk, gesturing for her to take the seat across from him. She hesitated but eventually sank into the chair, her posture rigid. "Do you understand what just happened out there?" Ryan asked, his voice calm but edged with steel. Jennifer scrambled to defend herself. "But you were wearing that MAGA hat. That's provocative. I was just trying to protect the restaurant's vibe." Ryan cut her off mid-sentence. "Stop. This isn't about a hat. This is about you deciding that you get to judge people based on how they look. And worse, you've been running this place like a dictator, treating my staff and my guests with zero respect. That goes against everything this business stands for." He reached for his laptop, turning the screen to face her. Jennifer's eyes widened as footage from the restaurant's security cameras played. It showed her snapping at Zach, belittling customers, and throwing around her weight like she owned the place. There was no room for debate. "These recordings are already with my lawyer and PR team," Ryan said, his voice cold and firm. Jennifer's breathing quickened. "Please, it was just a bad day. I swear, I can do better. Just give me another chance." Ryan's expression didn't waver. "You didn't just have a bad day. You created a toxic environment for my staff and my customers. You're fired, effective immediately." Jennifer's face twisted with anger and desperation, but she couldn't argue. Ryan stood, making it clear the conversation was over. Without another word, he left her sitting in the office, staring blankly at the screen, still replaying her actions. Back in the dining area, Ryan grabbed the microphone from the hostess stand. The room, still buzzing with anticipation, went quiet as he addressed the crowd. "Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of this restaurant, I deeply apologize for what you've experienced tonight. Dinner is on us, and I promise we'll take every step to make this right." The room erupted into cheers and applause. Ryan turned to Zach, who was standing near the kitchen, looking stunned. "Zach, thank you for keeping your cool tonight," Ryan said with a smile. "We'll be having a conversation about your future here. Expect some good news." Zach's face lit up, his earlier nerves replaced with gratitude. By the time Ryan left the restaurant that evening, the internet was on fire. Videos of Jennifer's meltdown had gone viral, with hashtags like #RyansRevenge and #BadManager trending across platforms. Thousands of comments poured in, praising Ryan for his integrity and leadership. As for Jennifer, her reputation took a nosedive. Clips of her tirades were shared and reshared, turning her into the face of poor management. By the next morning, she was a meme, her actions serving as a cautionary tale for anyone who underestimated the power of accountability. But Ryan didn't stop there. He launched a company-wide initiative to improve training and ensure every restaurant upheld the values he built his business on. He personally visited locations, meeting staff, and customers to rebuild trust. The restaurant chain thrived in the wake of the incident, gaining more loyal patrons than ever. For Ryan, it was a reminder of the responsibility that came with leadership. For Jennifer, it was a hard-earned lesson about the cost of disrespect. The story didn't just end with a lesson, it ended with a legacy. Respect isn't optional, and Ryan made sure the world knew it. What would you have done if you were in Ryan's place? Do you think he handled the situation the right way? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you or someone you know ever experienced something similar? Let us know how you dealt with it. And if you enjoyed the story or feel it sheds light on an important issue, hit that like button and share it with others. This story is created to inspire positive change and bring attention to the importance of respect and accountability. Together, we can make the world a better place, one story at a time.